Move now from electricity to steel. The National Employers Association of South Africa launching a scathing attack on NUMSA as well as big business in the metal industry. Negotiators for a big business, so that's CIFSA, offering NUMSA a 10% wage hike, while NEASA negotiating for a smaller hike. It says that it simply can't afford anything bigger and is offering 8%. Let's get a view on this now. Joining us on Newsnight is NEASA Chief Executive Gerhard Papenfus. Welcome. Thanks very much for talking to us tonight. Before we talk about the ins and outs of this, I just want a sense of your constituency. Principally, who do you represent?
Small, medium-sized business.
What would that be?
Well, it's anything from 2-3 employees up to 50, 60, 80 employees, but that's the range. There might be a few bigger guys, but below the 100, that's our focus.
All right, we're getting headlines of an industry now on its knees as a result of the strike. How close to collapse? How bad is it?
Well, the industry is in a state of decline for years. Just in terms of the short term, this industry was severely affected by what's happened in the platinum strike. I mean, our employers are manufacturing for the mining companies. So we went into these negotiations already hurt by what's happened in this
on the back foot.
On the back foot. Then you must keep in mind that for decades now, CIFSA has been negotiating for this industry. And there's a relationship that developed that's simply giving into union demands. This industry is the most expensive industry in South Africa. In fact, we are 40% more expensive than the motor industry. And that's because of poor negotiations. So this is how it happens. The unions demand and the employers give, but we can give no longer. The NUMSA recently said that this industry lost 250,000 jobs in the last 5 years. The General Secretary of the Council said the industry lost 750,000 jobs over a longer period. So what's happened? A deal which employers can't afford, immediately afterward retrenchment starts and employers want to mechanize. Now, we owe to South Africa a deal that's sustainable. Otherwise, we're going to run into difficulty. This industry has the potential to be the major job creator in South Africa.
Have you reached a point with your members where jobs are now starting to be threatened, perhaps have been lost already, and or businesses are starting to close?
Oh, no doubt. No doubt. Businesses is on the brink. They cannot do this. And the strike has hurt them, and remember now the strike hurt them, and then there's a 10% on top. Now what's happened, you know, when CIFSA and NUMSA and the unions strike a deal, that's none of my business. What happened in the labour relations environment? The Labour Relations Act make provision for the extension of that agreement to smaller business. Now what's happened, here's a deal being struck in Johannesburg and being extended to small business in rural areas. This is not sustainable.
So how do you then redefine your relationship with CIFSA?
Well, you know,
I mean, patently you have to do that.
Well, you know, it's a difficult situation. We were in the same caucus. They broke ranks and went on their own. How to fix that is a problem. I think there's only one solution now. 2 deals. Big business deal. Medium and small business must do their own deal because we cannot match that. And if they continue, I've got sufficient grounds to take this to court and set it aside.
This is not going to please NUMSA, though, is it?
Well, it's not, but what do you do? What do you do if somebody wants to squeeze something out of you which you simply cannot afford? I went through the country to 8 places, out towns and cities 2 weeks ago. I saw businesses personally. I didn't consult with them on a phone, and I tested them. And I have no mandate to go beyond 8%. This is the maximum. And you know what's already happened? There's a 10% on the table, 9.5% next year, 9%.
All right, let's not look in the future. Let's look at the here and now. So this has been offered. You're not in a position to go along with this. Patently, you've raised this with CIFSA and NUMSA, either collectively or bilaterally. What response have they given you?
Well, of course, NUMSA went into these negotiations with a double-digit demand. I mean, this is like a slogan, double-digit. So that's what they said. And you either give it to you or we'll destroy this industry. We cannot continue to negotiate on this basis. We'll simply have to go back to the drawing board. CIFSA made this offer thinking that was a deal clincher.
So you're going to go to court inevitably, aren't you?
Well, if this deal goes through, it is a force on us, we'll be in court. We've set aside the previous agreement once. We've been in court 2 weeks ago. We wait for a judgment to set aside 3 years agreements. We have no option. Collective bargaining in South Africa will have to be changed, because what happens is that the act is written in such a way that the employer doesn't count, it's the number of his employees. So you can imagine if you have one employer employing 1,000 people, 1,000 small businesses employing each person, the one employer of the 1,000 have preference over the rest. And we know that small business is the job creator. Right. No longer big business.
Mr. Papenfus, we are going to leave it there. Thank you very much for filling us in. NEASA Chief Executive Gerhard Papenfus with us here on Newsnight.